You know, it is a remarkable story. All these survivors coming to the States, they had to overcome their losses, family losses, then they started new families, and here they came to a new country. They didn't speak the language, they didn't know the way life went on here. It was a remarkable way that they adjusted. The women of Hadassah and Council of Jewish Women were right there at the boat to meet us. We wound up at the Jewish Community Center. It was so civilized because they had set up tables with white tablecloths and they were ready to welcome us for dinner. I think that's what made the biggest impression on me. People were willing to welcome us without questions. They had help. The Jewish community did help, but they had to do it on their own. They had to go to work, earn a living, rent an apartment, and they did it. And they, before you know it, they put their pennies together, they bought homes, they invested in real estate, and they became part of the community. Once they got here, they wanted to forget what they went through and just start a new life. And my parents had these friends who all survived the war, and yet they enjoyed life together. They always had excuses to have a party or get together for dinner, whether it's holidays or just to get together. They were very social. Well, I know that they always met and they enjoyed their group. They became a club and called themselves the New Americans, and they became part of the community. They paid dues and they raised money. Whatever they could attend, they always did. But it was mostly being together and them reminiscing or just being together because they had all this past history in common. The Nazis came into town when Exodus was being shown. Well, that was the time that I was the most scared. Nerves were pretty raw at that time. We hadn't gotten over the war. It was a scary time, especially when the men, the survivors, got together and they said they were going down to the theater. What I didn't know is that they had bats with them, and they were literally there ready to get into a fight. Thank goodness cool heads prevailed and the police helped out and there was no confrontation. The first time that I ever spoke was when the Anne Frank exhibit came to town. I always thought that I needed to do something. And my thought was I would talk to children. I could relate to them a story of what happened to me as a child and what hatred does. People asked if the survivors would talk to school children, to groups. which turned out to be, a very healing part for all of us. I find that it was healing to me because I had all these mixed feelings within me, as did the other survivors. And even though it was hard to talk about it, and sometimes you became very emotional about it, it was rewarding to see how the children reacted. And this is something that we hope that you will remember, because in another 20 years there won't be any of us here to tell you that we were there and we witnessed it.
Ewig bleibt wach in mein Sekunden, wenn ich tracht von meiner Zeit, wird mir so bang und leid, oi wie schnell bin ich schon alt geworden.
Gläserle Chaim, es schadet nicht nehmen hein, wenn man sieht bei unter dicken Tisch. A Gläserle Chaim, für Freundschaft und für Freund, man soll ständig nur munter sein und frisch. A Gläserle Chaim, für alt und jung, wo sitzen da, für jeder besonder, wo seinen Heint mit uns nicht da. A Gläserle Chaim, dem Becher voll mit Wein, fahr der Sohn, sie soll ständig mit uns sein. A Gläserle Chaim, mein Toast wird sein a Zin, nur auf Simches bei jedern von euch. A Gläserle Chaim, fahr Mutter und fahr Kind, als mit Naches die Mame soll sein reich. A Gläserle Chaim, nicht obstehen soll von euch die Schein, kein schwarzer Tag im Leben, in der Mischpoche soll nicht sein.